We are going to the Black Cat Jazz Supper Club tonight. I am very excited. I've wanted to go for years. We try to do a date night every month, and this month is Felipe's turn to plan the date. It's basically dinner and a show. So there's a musician performing tonight, and we have a pre-fixed menu. I thought I would straighten my hair today. I never straighten my hair because my hair is so thin it just doesn't hold anything, whether it's straightness or curls. So we shall see. And I also decided to go for a darker lip color today. Just seemed a little more fun. Well, this is about as straight as it usually gets. It's just still kind of poofy and you can see that the waves are still there. I don't know if it's my hair type or if it's just the straightener I have. It will probably get curlier and curlier throughout the night, but that's okay. Here is the hair at the end of the day. It's just kind of triangular. Just cannot tell that I straightened it at all. We went to one of my favorite coffee shops in the city, Hey Neighbor in Portola. They offer half calf, which is what I'm mostly drinking these days. The decoration inside is very cute. They unfortunately do not have Wi-Fi or public restrooms, but they do have a shop cat named Boots, though I didn't see them this time. Very uniquely, Portola has a greenway that runs behind the shops along San Bruno. It had been a couple years since I had last seen it, and wow, have they done a lot since then. Totally worth a visit. For lunch, we stopped by Ming Hing for some duck over rice. Sorry, baby. have since finished Onyx Storm from the last time I talked about it in the previous vlog. I have a lot of thoughts, and even though there's a lot of reviews out for this, I just wanted to get my own things recorded. It kind of helps me organize my thoughts a little bit better about the book. I'll start with some overall thoughts, so those are just general themes, spoiler free, and then I'll go into ways that I think the book could improve, and those will contain spoilers, but I'll leave a warning before I dive into that. So, my overall thoughts on Onyx Storm. This is book 3 of the Empyrean series, otherwise known as Fourth Wing. I did blow through the book. It remains very easy to read, even though it has 700 pages or something like that. But I finished it in basically maybe a week or a week and a half. My favorite of this book was basically getting to see new areas of this universe. I wish there had been more world building. It's just so interesting because we have mostly been to Basquiat, but we obviously spent most of the time in Navarre in book 1, and then Aritia was introduced in book 2, and now we get to visit a different section. And even though a good portion of the book is spent in these new locations, it's still not that much time, in my opinion, and I just wish I could have learned more, especially because they go to multiple destinations, and so there just could have been more time spent overall in each new location. We also saw some character growth, so that's really, really good, because that was lacking in book 2, to be honest. And I just, when the characters go through different experiences, it's good that they are growing and it's natural. Otherwise, your reader gets very frustrated. I will say I was still frustrated, especially by Violet, but Xaden as well. So I just hope that the little bit of character growth that they finally show at the end of the book continues, and I hope that they grow a little bit faster or more significantly in the next 2 books. My biggest gripe is that many things didn't make sense or didn't matter. So I left these books with more questions than I had questions answered. And that can be a bit frustrating after you've read 3 books already and you have to wait a long time for the next book to come out. I think it takes the reader out of the book a little bit when they are questioning, wait, why did this even happen? And so then you start having readers question everything, which I feel like is not really what they want. Okay, so those are my overall thoughts. I am going to go into detail now about ways that I think that the book could have been improved, and maybe they'll incorporate that in the next 2 books, because I am seeing a lot of the same complaints on Reddit, on YouTube, on TikTok, basically everywhere. So I know I'm not alone in these thoughts. First, I think that we could have had higher stakes. Basically, no major character deaths happen. In my opinion, Myra should have died. And I don't say that lightly because I really like Myra as a character. The only character death that I can remember at this moment is Traeger. And he was introduced so briefly and, didn't have anything that stood out for him aside that he really liked Cat. So he literally was introduced just so someone could die. And we didn't know him long enough to care. There were no deaths to really illustrate that this war is serious and it is a difficult situation and there are a lot of things at stake. Theophanie's character is the big bad for this book, and they keep positioning it as, oh my goodness, she's a maven, and Violet and all these other people are just cadets. So their skills are supposed to be just vastly unbalanced. Then at the end, there's the revelation that, oh my gosh, she's not just a lightning wielder, she is actually a storm wielder, so she controls all of the elements. And this is supposed to make her a really, really formidable opponent. But in the end, she was still killed pretty easily. 3 books in, we just keep seeing this. There's cartoonish villains. They're supposed to be super evil. There's no redeeming qualities. They're not nuanced characters. And then they just get vanquished. Overall, I think I'm expecting a good, happy ending for this series. But there's no struggle to get there. And you just know that they're going to be defeated no matter what. I touched on the world building. So they go to the Isles in this book, and it just felt like there was no point to them. They won at every single challenge that was thrown at them, minus Traeger's death. But again, Traeger was so minor, we don't really care if he dies. So they just overcome their challenges very, very easily. And the Isles are all very different. I think it was not nuanced enough. It just is like, okay, this isle worships this god, and then this other isle only worships this god, and that's like their defining trait. So it's not complicated enough for me, world building wise. I just wish the isles mattered more. Basically, with this high stakes thing, I'm trying to say everything happens too easily. Like, Violet passes the storekeeper's test because the test was stupid. Why would the storekeeper test her on her love life? That just seems weird. My second one is don't create drama for drama's sake. I'll start with Zayden's mom. She's on one of the isles. She just kind of appeared extremely randomly after they leave the isle. She never shows up again. So I don't know what the point of that was. Another example is Zayden becoming a professor. It feels like he just became that so that they could introduce a conflict in the romance. And because he's a professor, they are not supposed to have a relationship with each other, and they try to get an exemption, but they fail. I feel like anybody who has been a teenager in a relationship in general would know that this rule is not going to stop anybody. I think they can develop the romance more. Zayden and Violet are just forever in the honeymoon stage. They're supposed to be this couple that has a love that is unmatched, and nobody else has a love like this, but it's not reflected because they have so much drama and their whole vibe is off. So they have a lot of toxic behavior. They are exceedingly jealous, both of them. They are distrustful of each other. That was the whole plot of book 2, with Violet needing Zayden to tell her every single thing or else she couldn't trust him. So toxic. And then just the possessiveness, the toxicity is displayed like as if this demonstrates how true their love is, when it actually points to why their love is problematic. A true power couple would not act this way. They would be confident with each other. There's no intimacy, I guess. Like, even in the sex scenes, they're just going at it like rabbits all the time. And I know that they're frequently kept apart for weeks at a time and they can't be with each other because of following these rules. But they don't do anything but go to war and bang each other. So I don't really see much relationship development. And to me, they are very much still in like year 1 of a relationship. There is no stability that convinces me that they are actually meant for each other and it's a love that will last the ages. Like, all they have holding them together is passion. We know that passion doesn't fade, but it doesn't stay in this like high energy level. It usually goes down and then you achieve stability with your partner. And if they're not going to develop the romance, then they should focus more on the non-romance aspects, because I'm dying to know more about dragons, especially the Irids, but we don't get enough of that. And that leads me to my final improvement. I think they should answer some questions. I think readers can only sustain their curiosity for so long, and this risks having people quit because the payoff takes too long. And I don't think we really get anything answered in this book except maybe what happened to Zayden's mom. And I don't think people were really asking that question anyway. We got some questions answered about Andarna's family and why they left and what they're like, but it just opened up more questions. Not having most of the questions answered, along with stuff that just didn't make sense, it just led to a lot of frustration that I'm seeing beyond just myself. Anyway, I think those are things that could help make the books a little bit better. I am not blaming Rebecca Yarros for everything. I don't know how much was controlled by the publishing company or her editors, and I'm not coming for the author. These are just my takeaways as a reader. I will still keep reading. At this point, I think I'm in for book 4 and 5 just because I'm invested in these characters, even though they're very frustrating. And I want to know what happens. And I want my questions answered. So I really hope they at least answer the majority of them as the series concludes.
So, anyway, I will get off my soapbox now. Thanks for listening. Again, these are just my own personal opinions. There were a lot of faults with the books, but I did still like it. I finished it, and I will keep reading it. So,